What's up everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I finally received my permanent tag for my Jeep Wrangler. If you've been following the channel, I've had this about a month and a half or so, and I really haven't been able to do anything to this truck yet because I was waiting for that tag to arrive. Now, if you aren't a follower of the channel, I owned a 350Z for about 2 months because of this exact situation that I did not want to go down the same road with my Jeep Wrangler. So on my 350Z, I was on my 4th temporary tag, which technically is illegal for a dealer to give you more than one after that 30 or 45 day first tag expires. I was on my 2nd tag with the Wrangler, and I've already been down this road before, so I kind of knew what to expect, and I really did not want to have to give the car back to the dealer. My 350Z, I sold it back to them for exactly what I paid for because of that situation, and it was just a bad road to go down. So that's why I've held off on doing any mods to the Jeep until I got that tag. That is something that I would advise to a lot of you guys as well. If you're buying a new vehicle and it's something that you want to mod, make sure you get everything squared away before you start putting money into that vehicle. In a month and a half, I could have already lifted this, wheels and tires, and there's a lot of mods that I could have already ordered, but I decided to hold off on them until I got that tag, because if I'd never got the tag and I had to sell the Jeep back, that's a ton of work and a lot of money to take off all those parts, put it back to stock, and even be able to sell those parts. It would take some time to sell those to somebody who would want them. Of course, being a Wrangler, it probably would have been quick to sell, but that's just extra stress I did not want to put on myself. So I decided to hold off on all the mods, and I have finally been able to install my new tag today, which is extremely exciting. Now I can start ordering mods. I'm actually going to do that later today. So when this video is posted, I already have mods coming, and I'm super excited to start diving into it and getting this truck looking exactly how I want it to. It's going to be really awesome. So in today's video, I figured I would talk about what it's been like so far owning this Jeep. How much has it costed me, insurance, sales tax or property tax, and things like that. So I'm going to look at the notice that I got in the mail here along with my tag, which actually I was able to pick up earlier today. So I'm going to start off with the amount that I paid for this vehicle. This is a 2018 Jeep Wrangler Sport S. It had about, just under 26,000 miles, I think, when I bought it. And so the sales price on this vehicle was about $34,500. Out the door, it was $37,000 even, with taxes and all of that included into that, or added to that price. So $37,000. I think it's a pretty fair price. There's not a whole lot of extra options on this vehicle that I didn't want. I got everything that I wanted, minus the navigation. Navigation for the Wranglers was about another $3,000 if you wanted that larger screen. I do have, I guess, the second largest screen. There's a very small one. You have this one with the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and then a little bit bigger gives you the full navigation along with all those extra goodies. So $3 or $4 grand is a lot in mods, and I do have navigation in my Tacoma, so I figured I don't really need it in the Wrangler. Otherwise, I would have been pushing the $40,000 mark just to get navigation. So I didn't really need to go over a certain amount since I have another vehicle. And I got heated cloth seats, I have the heated steering wheel, downhill assist control, and pretty much everything that I wanted mechanically. Now, it's not a Rubicon. It does have the Dana 44 rear axle, however. The front one is a Dana 30, so not as strong as the rear one, but there's some things I can work with on that as far as re-gearing and things like that later down the road. So I'm going to start off with insurance. Insurance on this is pretty relatively cheap, at least in my mind. I pay about, or I will be paying about $400 a year for the Wrangler. Now, in comparison, my Tacoma, which is a 2017, is a little over $500 for the year. So surprisingly, this is cheaper. It's a newer vehicle with less miles, but it really doesn't break the bank, at least for me. $400 a year, and that's with full coverage. I have no accidents, no tickets on my record, so $400 is pretty reasonable, I think, especially comparing it to my Tacoma. Now, one thing that I find interesting is the appraised value for my 2018 is $34,883. That is one of the first appraisals that I've seen very, very close to the purchase price or the sales price of a vehicle. When I had my Audi R8, the appraisal value was almost half, a little bit more than half of what I paid for the vehicle. So it's surprising to see how much they appraise this for. That means this vehicle books out really well, and Wranglers hold their value very well as well. They're very expensive brand new, and even used I would say they're still fairly expensive, but you'll be able to sell it for what you paid for it. If not, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, but you're really not going to lose anything on a Wrangler unless you do buy it brand new. I have seen probably about an $8,000 loss on buying one brand new, when you can save that money, buy a used one, and it just has some miles on it. So that is pretty awesome to see how Wranglers hold their value well. And then the vehicle property tax is $454.35. So I have a couple months to pay that, but to get a Wrangler, to get it up and on the road, get it insured, is really not going to cost me all that much. So it's going to be less than $1,000 if you don't include the property tax there. To keep it on the road, of course you have gas and other expenses like modifications in my case. But those are all the numbers so far on my Wrangler. So I'm gonna transition now from the things that I absolutely love about my Jeep Wrangler to the first 5 mods that I think are necessary for this vehicle. So I'm gonna start up front with a front bumper and work my way back. The reason that I wanna do this is because I wanna find the perfect bumper and then find fender flares to match that bumper. So I've seen that you can get a full front bumper that's as long as the stock one, or a little bit shorter, kind of right underneath the headlights ending there. So I want to get one of those shorter ones and then find fender flares to match that. And then from there I can look at rear bumpers and then wheels and tires, and then of course a lift, I think, is the first 5 things that I'd love to do. Other things that I'd like to do, I need to get skid plates because these ones are kind of scraped up from taking it off-road in the stock form. And then let me know down below, what else can I do? There are endless possibilities and different directions that you can go with the Wrangler. So that's what I love about it. Everyone can basically have a unique Wrangler. You can get any part you want and be different from another Wrangler, which is really cool to see. I think one thing that I really want to do is delete the spare tire. Honestly, in the years that I've been driving, I have, knock on car there, I've never had to use a spare. And putting that extra weight, I've seen, can kind of make the rear sag a little bit. You can do stiffer springs if you want to help with that weight, but it's just gonna sit there. So I think the tire delete is gonna be something that looks really cool, having the license plate right in the center there. And then that's maybe kind of it for the exterior. I can't really think of anything else. I've already have some lights. I might get some more lights going, different rock rails at some point. And yeah, just let me know down below, what are some other mods that I should do to my Wrangler. But I think those are the first 5 that I should do, and get this with the right stance that I'm looking for. 35s is, I think, the tire size that I want to go with. And we'll just keep going from there. I want to hear from you guys because I love hearing your feedback on mods that I should do, looking at different parts and things like that, and what I think is a perfect match for my Wrangler. But that's going to wrap it up on finally getting the tag for my Wrangler, being able to drive this and not stress about having my temp tag. So now it's time to start on the mods and get this looking the way I'd like to. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, give it a huge thumbs up. Consider smashing that subscribe button if you want to stay tuned to the Jeep build along with all of our other projects, and I'll see you guys in the next video.